I'd like to introduce Allison Flores, COO of Musical Empowerment. Allison, Nim Grinvald, Tech Evangelist from Kinton over here. It's a pleasure to have you. I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Hey, Nim, thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here today and share a little bit more about how musical empowerment has been totally transformed thanks to our use of Kintone. So I am the Chief Operations Officer at Musical Empowerment. We're a national nonprofit organization, and our mission is to create equitable access to music education by pairing college student volunteers with local kids to teach one-on-one music lessons and be a mentor to them. So we really believe in the power of mentorship and music to make a huge difference in the lives of all of our kids. So we have 8 collegiate chapters across North Carolina and a few other states as well, serving about 280 students across all those chapters. And we've just got 1 board of directors, 2 full-time staff members, including myself, and we rely very heavily on our 70 collegiate volunteer leaders who help recruit and train and do a lot of the on-the-ground work at each chapter. So there's a lot of moving parts there, lots of communication and things that need to get done and shared. So Kintone has absolutely helped us stay more connected and given us the ability to grow. So to give some more background on the areas where we were hurting and where we found that a software system was going to be essential for our organization. The first one was that fragmented communication, the differences between what each chapter was doing. It was very siloed. All of our operations and communications looked a little bit different. I would have to hunt people down on different platforms. And then we also had poor access to history because of that fragmented communication. I'd have to try to remember, where did I have that conversation about those instruments? Was it on Slack? Was it email? Did I text them? Just information everywhere. And we also are constantly dealing with turnover because of our collegiate volunteers. They graduate, and then we have to get new people in and trained on our operations, and having something consistent was really important for that. We also had an executive director transition recently, and it was really difficult for her to figure out where all that information was in multiple different spreadsheets in the Google Drive, in Dropbox, right? So now we've got a lot of that in one place that we'll see in the portal. And finally, with volunteers and being a staff of 2, there's a lot of ambiguity around responsibilities, and we wear lots of different hats throughout the day. So being able to clarify who's responsible for what, how to get things done is extremely important. So we're not overwhelmed and frustrated when there are those miscommunications and things that might get missed. So this is a quick snapshot of sort of what that before looked like, before Kintone. Maybe some of you recognize a screen like this, right? You've got all sorts of different platforms up. I'm talking to some people on LinkedIn, some people on Facebook, because that's just what they prefer, and I know they'll respond. But again, that really gets things lost or potentially miscommunicated if you don't have that history to go back. And then you've got your tabs for those communications open, and then the other spreadsheets open. The data and the conversations about the data are just not at all in the same place. So that's before. That's painful to look at. We'll see how much better it looks in Kintone. A few other of our accomplishments that I'll be able to show you in more depth today. I'm saving 95% on my admin time. Before Kintone, I was spending just so much of my day, several hours a day, putting out fires, figuring out what was wrong with our previous system, and just kind of searching for all that missing information that we didn't have in one place, right? And getting things from different chapters, all that good stuff. Yeah, I've literally 50% of my day just putting out fires and dealing with these small things that just were so in the weeds. Also, as a nonprofit, it's really important for us to consider our budgets and what we have available. So being able to reduce the cost of all the different platforms we were using, including our previous kind of management software, fundraising softwares, we were able to put a lot of that into Kintone and cut down our overall cost by 65%. And since we started using Kintone, we've been able to expand to 3 more different college locations, open 3 more chapters, and that's just been a huge success. We never would have had the capacity at the staff level to improve those things unless I was able to really cut down that admin time. Right now, if I spend just 30 minutes a week on admin, I'm able to look at the big picture of our organization and really start to expand and do more of our mission. So at this point, I'd like to show you what that looks like through our actual Kintone portal. So the portal is the main homepage for our Kintone platform. And this is what all mentors see and what staff sees when they log in to their account. And actually, thanks to the permission settings, there are some features on here like evaluations and applications, our fundraising section that I see from the admin view, but our mentors at the lower levels don't even see these things because they don't have to worry about it. We'll look at them in a little bit, but for now, I want to picture that you are a new mentor joining Musical Empowerment. Super excited to get involved with our organization. You just went through your training and you are ready to get started. So you'll come over to our Get Started tab. Super easy to find again on the page, and you'll go through that process of doing your background check, code of conduct, typical onboarding procedure. And previously, before we had this feature, it would take multiple emails, up to 2 or 3 days to process all of these different forms and things that were going on. It would take a lot of my time to follow up with everyone and see who had completed the task, who hadn't. And now it's all just boom, right there, few clicks, and you are getting through that process. Next, we've got lesson resources tab, and that can take you to your pairing info. So now I'm going to show you this application. Apps are kind of your building blocks of Kintone. It's like a spreadsheet, but has even more powerful features and ways that you can customize to take advantage of your system and your data, right? So now we've got an example here for this is your student. Once you're onboarded and you've completed that process, you can catch up to date with all the information about your student. And it's filtered again through those permissions. So I can only see information about students that have been assigned to me. So that makes it really, really easy to see all of this great information. It's also really helpful because Kintone has an application, a mobile app. And that is great because our college students are always on their phone. So they're able to go through that and just get that access to the data anytime. Before we had Kintone, this would have been sent out in an email. We had this huge mail merge spreadsheet situation with the pairs, and it would just take multiple hours and days to get those pairings out. And now we simply add a new record over here, and everyone is able to see their filtered information without going through that mail merge situation and searching through your inbox. All of that is avoided with our clean, easy view, saving us so much time and keeping our volunteers happy. That's something else that's really important for us and for everyone, is to keep your volunteers happy by making the process simple, keeping enthusiasm up. They want to be involved. They want to get to be part of our community. We've got the announcement on the portal as well, which you can also change to include different information. So this is something our mentors are always able to see, check up on how things are going, and we can send them that positive, encouraging messaging about what they're doing. So at this point, I want to switch over to our instrument lending applications. So for us, all of our students need instruments. That's what ILP stands for, but for you, it might be other equipment or technology, laptops. So again, once mentors are on the main page, you can come over here to make a request. So this is another application that we're about to see, and this is that mentor view. So this is where they will import the information that they need to express what type of instrument they need, what chapter they're from, all of that important stuff. If they've had at least one lesson, that just helps keep our processes in place. And then we've also added another section that we didn't need pre-COVID, but luckily Kintone makes it really easy for us to make additions and flexible changes as we are dealing with new situations that come up. So I'll show you the back end later about how easy it is to drag and drop these new questions into the form and instantly update everything. Before we had that, 2 years ago, right, we were dealing with having to update multiple forms, 7 different forms for all 7 different chapters. We'd have to go through and add that information to each separate one, right, and make sure that all the language was consistent, things were happening, instead of making those changes that become universal for the organization. So this is the backside of this application that the leadership team, our volunteers, will go in after they've seen, all right, so-and-so needs a keyboard. Let's go in there and get them a keyboard. So we've got this lookup field, which is just another type of box that you can add into your applications. So if we go to look up here, it'll actually connect us to information that's in a different application. So we can very quickly filter what's available. If we want to change that instrument, things like that are all super easy to search for. If we continue with the keyboard example, we'll see these two instruments are available, and we could set this up. Boom, it's going to be assigned. And again, if we had real information, you'd see that in there as well. So you're going to just hit save and you're good to go. So it looks like such a quick and simple process, right? Just look up and you see all of that information there. Previously, we'd have the form in one tab, what's the request, and then we'd have to pull up the spreadsheet, search the spreadsheet for what's available, instead of having that just available in 2 quick clicks to look up and assign. Again, save and you're done. And I want to show you another example of what it looks like on the communication side. Once we do have an application that's in use, in progress, a completed request in this example, if we are dealing with questions along the way, our volunteers have easy access to me at the staff level. They're able to shoot me a comment and clarify different questions to specify what's going on. I can give them updates. It's just so amazing because it's right there, right next to the data, right? So we don't have to go back and forth between the email, between the spreadsheet, right? It's all a conversation that happens right here. And even the other volunteers who weren't part of this particular exchange are able to see those comments, so they also know what's up, instead of having to reply all, copy so-and-so, right? So things don't get miscommunicated or work doesn't get duplicated. We see it all right there. Okay. Next, I want to show you that application of the actual inventory. So that's the one that connects to this lookup field. Okay, that's going to take us to a totally new application. We don't have to leave and switch applications once we're in the request, but on the back side, we do have to switch back over to the inventory section. So I'm going to show you what this app looks like. So again, totally new application, but when you're in the request side, you don't need to switch over to this one. I just want to highlight a few other features of the application. We've got different categories, all sorts of great, easy things here to go through. So while we're also on this view, I want to show you how easy it is to add in those new forms. So before, we just had to go through the multiple different forms, drag, drop, update. Our first system, it would take me about 2 hours to set up a form from scratch. In Kintone, takes me maybe 30 minutes max to start a new application, to start a new form. So to see that back end, we are just going to click on this little settings wheel, and we'll be able to see how we edit the form over here with our different field options. There are so many options for different fields, and this is what gives us the power to connect a lot of our apps, right? Instead of having all those different tabs, spreadsheets don't know how to talk to each other, but Kintone applications do. And it's super easy to drag, drop, make a few setting changes from here, and you save your application and it's good to go. Changes instantly. There's no constant checking in on, hey, did this application get updated? What's going on? Did you see this change? That's a whole nother conversation. Everyone involved in this application needs to ask and figure out what's going on with changes. No more, it gets updated instantly, and anyone who's in the app can see those changes right away. So next, I want to show you a little bit more about our spaces and our fundraising and development portion. So we were dealing with a CRM that was in spreadsheet form. Everything was a total mess. Things were not connected. Information was copied in multiple tabs. And now we have a beautiful space. Spaces are a super nice feature of Kintone because we're able to keep applications fenced in here. So this is our really private, sensitive donor information that we need to keep safe. Mentors don't need to see that, just a handful of people, right? So we set those permissions to make this super secure. A few other great features of the space is that you have room here to keep track of some reporting. Reporting is so important, especially for nonprofits, to share our up-to-date information with donors, with grantors. Before we had Kintone, I would have to block out at least 2 hours to calculate what are our demographics at all 7 chapters. And now I'm able to get a saved graph. It takes me 2 clicks to find my saved graph of any information that constantly comes up in donation reports. Huge time saver. And just kind of for fun. It's exciting to see charting our donation progress. We're charting what type of information we can collect from donors, just so that we have a better idea of what's going on within our organization. So it keeps track of all of the different communication things that we want to share. And again, just keeping that morale up and staying excited. I get so excited seeing this view and knowing that we're doing good work and people appreciate what we do. And before Kintone, I was spending so much time being frustrated in my role and feeling like I wasn't doing a good job because our data wasn't super secure. It wasn't good data. It wasn't clean and easy to access. And I was genuinely thinking about quitting my job because of how frustrated I was with our data and communication struggles. So Kintone, again, bottom line, it's just been a total game changer for musical empowerment. We were seeing so much frustrating happening with putting out fires constantly, chasing people down. And at this point, I'm able to now spend so much more of my time focusing on our actual mission. Kintone has made all the difference for musical empowerment, and I know that it will make all the difference for you. Thank you.